When we talk about gentrification, we often describe it as something abstract, something that happens to neighborhoods, a process driven by markets, by developers, by forces that feel distant and impersonable. But what if gentrification can also be traced through floor plans, through insulation details, through renovation budgets and design decisions? For architects, planners, and designers, gentrification isn't just a social phenomenon, it is something we participate in, whether we mean to or not. This episode of Lines on the Block explores the role of design professionals in shaping neighborhood change. Specifically, it asks, how does design influence who gets to stay, who gets to move in, and who gets pushed out? To explore this question, I focus on Better Waverly, a North Baltimore neighborhood experiencing rapid change, and I speak with an architect who lives there. He is young, engaged, and deeply invested in the future of the neighborhood. But he also occupies a complicated position, one that could be perceived as both protective and extractive. Better Waverly is located just north of Johns Hopkins University, bordered by Greenmount Avenue, a commercial corridor that has historically served Black working-class residents. The neighborhood developed in the late 19th and early 20th century as a streetcar suburb and seasonal retreat. Many homes were built lightly, intended for summer use rather than year-round living. Like much of Baltimore, Better Waverly was shaped by redlining, disinvestment, and vacancy through the mid-20th century. According to urban scholar Lawrence Brown, these spatial inequalities were not accidental. They were designed through policy and planning decisions that radicalized access to credit, infrastructure, and land. Today, the neighborhood is increasingly described as up and coming, a term residents recognize as both promise and a threat. Andrew Bowie is an architect and designer who has lived in Baltimore for over a decade. He moved to Better Waverly back in 2019 after living in denser parts of the city like Mount Vernon. He is also a homeowner, a community garden member, and someone actively thinking about how architecture can either protect or exploit neighborhoods undergoing change. I began by asking Andrew why he chose Better Waverly as a place to live.
So Better Waverly felt like a nice retreat, the best of both worlds, still urban, but still a lot of land and a neighborhood feeling.
Urban sociologist Sharon Zukin describes this desire as a search for authenticity, a longing for history, community, and texture without instability. For designers, this desire is particularly powerful. Neighborhoods like Better Waverly offer both architectural opportunity and ethical risk. That tension becomes clearest when we talk about renovation.
So one of the reasons why I chose this neighborhood and when I started going to school at the same time to become an architect was because of the opportunity here. I saw that a lot of people were flipping these homes in a really terrible way.
Yeah.
The layouts are bad, they're not fixing the infrastructure. Like the whole neighborhood was a summer retreat. Like it was built as a summer retreat for people who lived in Baltimore. So this was the countryside. And the Greenmount area, the commercial zone, was actually the last stop off of York Road from connecting Pennsylvania to downtown Baltimore.
Oh.
So this was like the last pit stop. It was like a recreation summer house spot.
Yeah. Okay.
So a lot of people are flipping these homes and not upgrading them to be energy efficient. They're not upgrading them to be winterized properly.
Housing research from the Urban Institute shows that speculative home flipping in Baltimore often prioritizes surface-level aesthetics over long-term systems performance. New finishes hide poor insulation, mechanical inefficiencies drive up utility costs, and structural issues are concealed rather than addressed. These renovations increase asking prices without increasing durability, comfort, or resilience.
So I've seen a lot of homes go up for like $95,000, and then they would do 3 months of work on it and then sell it for like $240,000.
Yeah.
So the property values are going up really quickly, but I don't think that they are fixing them in the right way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm doing here, is saving up money to fix up homes.
In this context, architecture becomes a mechanism of speculation. The problem isn't simply change. Neighborhoods evolve. The problem is when design accelerates change without distributing its benefits. This is where Andrew's position becomes ethically complicated.
I think there's a lot of debate of whether everyone, well, I just don't think everyone should be a homeowner. It like locks you into a space. I think everyone deserves to have affordable living, but there's a lot of responsibility in owning a home. It's like not everyone's gonna be here for the rest of their lives. That's kind of an old model of living. So that's part of where I find myself in architecture, is trying to figure out the correct balance of creating affordable living, kind of finding my money in another spot so I don't have to gouge people. Like I'm not trying to make a living off of renting spaces.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to protect the area from people who are trying to flip homes.
Andrew doesn't position himself as neutral, but neither does he identify as a developer. As an architect, his technical knowledge gives him power, but that power also comes with responsibility. Design professionals shape not only buildings, but futures, affordability, and access. Better Waverly is not frozen in time, and it shouldn't be. But growth without care leads to erasure. For designers, the question isn't whether change happens, it's who that change is designed for. This has been Designing the Line, an episode of Lines on the Block. Thank you.